Now that you've created your first little 360-degree project with the help of the First Steps video, we'd like to go into much more detail and show you what else is possible. Before we get to the features, however, I'd like to say a few words about the tool itself and the hosting of your projects. It is a web-based solution that is easy to use and can be played on all common devices. The solution runs on Deutsche Telekom servers. Working with Telekom offers two major advantages. Everything is GDPR compliant and protects the climate, as Telekom servers are powered by 100% renewable energy. Get started. We'll look at Tour settings, Panoramas, Editor, Layers menu, and at the end a few special functions, such as the quiz engine, offer carousel, collecting points, or the 360-degree website. Note, some settings appear dynamically, such as the style, which only becomes available in the editor. This simplifies the workflow and is based on the experiences of our customers. All settings you make here affect the entire project. Let's go through these settings one by one. We'll start with General. You can change the project title at any time and press Save. The change is now online. In the type of project, you decide whether it is a 360-degree tour or a 360-degree website. When you activate the 360-degree website, you will see another tab on the left. We will go into this in more detail at the end of this tutorial. First, we will create a 360-degree tour. Online. Yes or no? This is pretty self-explanatory, but it is important to mention here that projects can only be deleted if No has been activated here. We will discuss the password protection feature at the end of this video. Now we continue with the 4 different links. You can save the link by clicking on this icon. If you want to quickly open the link using a new browser, we recommend the short link, and if you ever need a preview image for a project, you can find it under these links. The project title will be used as the title in the search results. Here you can specify whether the 360-degree project should be found by search engines at all. The meta description also serves as an invitation text for various social media, so we recommend writing attractive invitation texts. How would you like to start your project? Here you can first decide which panorama the entire project should start with. You can also greet visitors personally and use numerous settings to individualize and customize the greeting. Simply try out different settings and see the result live. It can be useful to display the start animation to show users right from the start that this is a 360-degree project and that they can move around the image. Here too, the rule is, just try it out. The little planet function has become a common way to start 360-degree projects. You can adjust the start and speed. Sometimes it can be useful to hide the thumbnail navigation bar. The welcome layer is one of the first features and is therefore already over 10 years old. Nowadays it is probably not the best choice for welcoming visitors, but you are welcome to test it and decide for yourself. Activate the option Open Map on Start if you want to add floor plans or site plans to the tour later. I will go into this point in more detail later when I get to the levels. Here you can enter your customer's contact details. If you do not want to display the contact form, you can deactivate it here. Note, this information also serves as the imprint. A valuable link for you or your customers. If you do not enter a URL, your URL will automatically be displayed as a placeholder. It always makes a good impression when the client's logo is visible in the project. Upload it here and it will be displayed in the top right corner of the project. When you click on the logo, users will be taken to the Start panorama. The ground logo is ideal for hiding the tripod, which is often still visible in the panoramas. If you would like to use an attractive round ground logo, please upload a corresponding PNG file. If you enter a URL and the placeholder for the floor logo link, users will be redirected there when they click on the floor logo in the tour, for example, to a website. The Autotour means that the tour starts to rotate automatically after a certain time. You are welcome to change the default settings and adapt them to your projects. These settings have proven themselves over the years. If you have stored GPS coordinates for your panoramas, you can activate the Google Maps display in the project here. I will show you later in the settings for the individual panoramas exactly where you store the coordinates. If you activate this function, from now on, wherever text is entered, another window for the additional language will open. There you must enter the text in the corresponding language. Important note, if, for example, you have entered German as a second language, users will see everything in German when they start the browser if they have entered German as the default language in their browser. This sound is played immediately when the project starts and will be heard the whole time, even when the user switches to the next panorama. I'll show you in the editor how you can add 2 more types of sound. Under Design Template you can choose between 2 designs. If you prefer something more colorful, then the first design is definitely more suitable. And if you want something more modern, then it's best to try the other design. But you can always swap back and forth later. We recommend that you activate the Share function. This way, users can easily and conveniently share your projects with their friends or on social media. Small gimmick is the Feedback Info function. If you have activated this, a corresponding note will be displayed in the tour after 20 seconds. When you click on this note, the user is taken to the contact form. There is an important feature regarding the maximum zoom. When you upload your panoramas, the tool checks the resolution of your images and only allows users to zoom in so far that the resolution does not become pixelated. If you want to bypass this function, you can upload panoramas in a higher resolution or choose different settings here. Now we come to something very crucial when it comes to navigation. There are 2 ways your users can navigate in the 360-degree projects: spatial sense and gallery. With the sense of space setting, the user has the rear hotspot behind them when changing panoramas and then sees the other side of the panorama. This has the effect that the user first looks at the other side of the room when opening a door. This effect is particularly noticeable when there are several shots in the same hallway. The user always looks in the right direction when calling up the panoramas. The gallery setting is completely different. Here, the starting angle of the panorama that you have previously determined is always shown. I will show you later in the editor where you can set the starting angle for each panorama. Regarding the iFrame display check, a current trend is to prevent external websites from being displayed in iframes on the server side, and this check is used to show the website in a new tab after a few seconds. In our opinion, this is user-friendly, but can be switched off here. Another very cool feature is Earn Points. This allows users to explore the 360-degree projects in a more playful way, and at the end they are shown a reward. This function is particularly recommended for projects related to education. I will show you exactly how you can use this in more detail at the end under Special Functions. The timeline function is ideal if you want to unlock certain content later and at certain times. However, you have to make the settings for this in the editor, so I'll explain this in more detail at the end of this video under Special Functions. If you deactivate the GDPR notice, users will no longer see the notice. We now come to a very useful and, above all, time-saving function. which I use very often to create demos or presentations. Copy project. If you ever want to create a demo for a customer, you can, for example, copy an existing project and then adapt the copy to the customer. This copy then gets its own URL and you can then also adapt the greeting, for example. You have 4 options for creating the copy. Space saving is great. The copy will hardly use any additional data volume, as it will get a new URL but access the original panoramas. With one-to-one, you actually copy the entire project one-to-one. This means that the data volume is used again. It is a good idea to create a copy without panoramas if, for example, you have already used a logo, floor logo, your colors or icons on the original tour. This saves you a lot of work and you only have to upload the panoramas in the copy. And the last option is completed. With completed, all panoramas copied to save space become one complete panorama and use up the corresponding data volume. By the way, it is important to know, as long as there is a copy of a tour somewhere, the original cannot be deleted. So nothing can happen here, we have made sure of that. Move project is a great feature for you as an admin. You can move projects into your customer's account or move a customer project to another customer. As an admin, you have full control over all of your customers' projects. You already know this area from the first video, but I will briefly explain the individual icons. The delete icon is clear, is there to delete. The second icon, stop sign, is to hide corresponding panoramas in the tour. The cool thing is that the tour still works. Our customers use this function, for example, to have a starting panorama with snow in winter and then one without snow in summer. Next we come to the download of the individual panorama equis. If you would like to edit a panorama, e.g. add an image, we recommend downloading it, and after editing you can use this icon to replace the panorama in the tour. The stored elements are retained. By clicking on the pen you can configure the individual panoramas, e.g. change the name or add a few functions. Here you can enter not only the names of the panoramas but also the coordinates of the individual panoramas. If you want to enter the coordinates or GPS data for the respective panoramas, click on the pencil symbol. You can now enter the coordinates in the window that opens. Before this works in the tour, you must register with your domain on Google Maps. You will then receive a Google key, which you must enter in your account under Settings. As soon as you have done this, you can click on the map icon in your tour, you will be redirected to Google Maps and you will now see the location of the respective panorama. Icon, you will land directly in the editor, exactly at this panorama. And that brings us to the heart of this platform, the editor. The editor is our pride and joy, and this is where most of the magic happens. You can simply click on the functions you want with the mouse, hold them down and move them to the appropriate place in the panorama and they will be live immediately. We'll start with the tour spots. This allows you to link 360-degree projects together. If you want to implement large or very large concepts, this function is very helpful. Because each project can be edited on its own and can also continue to be used separately. If you click on the tour spot, you will be taken to the linked tour. Pay attention to the URL, as it changes. The Panospot function was actually the very first one we implemented when we started development. This meant that users could go from one panorama to the next just a few days after the launch. You can now also choose an arrow direction and make other settings. Just try them all out. Please remember the difference between spatial sense and gallery, which I have already explained in the tour settings under project navigation. If you have chosen spatial sense, you can make settings in Panospot to improve navigation. If the view in the new panorama falls into a corner, you can change this by activating the option, only when navigating spatial sense, switch to the starting angle after changing the panorama, in the opened window in Panospot. Once you have made the settings, you can see the result directly in your 360-degree tour. By the way, you save a lot of time if you work with 2 keys on your keyboard. With the Alt key and the left mouse button you can move the set functions in the panorama. And with the Shift key you can edit many elements again or delete them. That saves a lot of time. One of the most used functions is definitely the text fields. There are 2 types of text boxes. One is a bit simpler and one has a bit more setting options. Try both out and discover the differences for yourself. With this function you can quickly and easily integrate images into your projects. There are a few setting options that you should try out. Note, the 2 different image display settings are specifically designed for display on mobile devices. Now that we have been able to store sound for the entire project under Tour settings, so that the sound plays the whole time, we now come to the second of 3 ways to integrate sound. The sound is only played when you click on the corresponding icon. This is ideal for museums or to promote accessibility in your projects. In addition to images and audio, you can also quickly and easily embed videos. There are 2 ways to do this. With this one, you can embed videos from other platforms such as YouTube or Vimeo. It is also recommended if, for example, you want to save data volume in your account. Here is a brief overview of the shopping function. This function is ideal if the user should be redirected to an external shop. For example, an artist can show her works in a virtual gallery and users can then buy them directly in the shop. Here you can easily link to other websites. Ideally directly in the project as an iFrame, you can also make further settings. It's best to try it out. So, now we come to 2 very cool functions that I often use myself. You can use them to add perspective images and videos to the panoramas. It looks really classy and really brings life to your projects. These can be normal photos or videos, but also moving elements or green screen recordings. These files are always saved and played in the resolution in which you upload them. After uploading, you will probably see a file that is much too large in the editor. I will now show you the best way to proceed. First press the Alt key on your keyboard and move the mouse to the image or video you just uploaded. Now move the slider in the top left under Adjustment Speed all the way to the right. Now you can adjust the perspective of the image or video. It's best to start on the left by reducing the size. Once you have made the basic settings, it is best to move the slider at the top left further to the left. This will allow you to position the images or videos with pixel precision. For example, if you want to place a photo exactly in a frame in a virtual gallery. I definitely recommend using these 2 functions in your customer projects. It was an absolute game changer for us back then, and in contrast to 360-degree videos, this content also loads extremely quickly. I think PDF files are pretty self-explanatory. They are also used surprisingly often. We come to room sound. The third way to incorporate sound into your projects. And this time it's a very special one. This sound is only played when the user looks at a certain area in the panorama. For example, the sound of waves start when the view falls at the video on the TV. The setting is very simple. You can enter the number of degrees for the environment at which the sound should be heard and also the volume. The best thing to do is just try it out and you will be amazed. Another function that we spent many months developing and that many customers use is the Polygon lasso. Some of you will already know it from Photoshop. You can use it to mark certain objects and set an action behind them. For example, you can mark a door and when you click it, the user will be taken to another panorama or a text field can open. Please do not click and drag this function into the panorama, but click, this activates it, and then click in the panorama where you want it to go. You can then circle the object with it, and when you're finished, please click on the symbol on the left in the navigation again. And please don't be confused by the slider that appears at the top left. You will only need it if you place a lot of these markers very close together. For example, if you want to mark areas in an industrial park in a drone panorama. You should also experiment a bit with visibility, as you have the option of setting it to 100% transparency so that users only see that it is clickable when they mouse over it. We have already seen many very creative uses for this. The quiz spots are part of the quiz engine theme, and I will go into more detail about them later in the special functions at the end of this video. This function has brought us very high demand, especially in the education sector. The integration of floor plans into your 360-degree projects is closely related to the different levels of your projects, and I will show you this in more detail under the topic menu/levels. This brings us to a very clever and popular way of hiding the camera tripod in the panoramas. Simply place a ground logo. You can upload it and link it in the tour settings, and here you can either hide it for each individual panorama or adjust its size. We come to the last function in the editor, Set Initial View. Here you can set this for each individual panorama. Please remember what I mentioned briefly about this topic in the tour settings. The starting angle of view you set is displayed if you have selected the gallery navigation. With sense of space, the starting angle of view you set is not taken into account, and the user sees the opposite of the panorama, which they click on. Now I'll show you how to arrange the order of your panoramas in the menu bar, or how to assign these panoramas to different layers. I'll also explain how to add interactive floor plans and assign them to different panoramas. You can assign your panoramas to different categories, such as holiday, adventure, and trade. You can then assign these categories to different supercategories, such as living, nature, or business. Now go to the Menu/Layers tab. Here you will initially see all the panoramas arranged one below the other. You can easily change the order using drag and drop, i.e. grab a panorama with the left mouse button, move it to the desired position, and release the mouse button. If you want to organize the panoramas into different levels, e.g. different destinations such as mountains or lakes under the main category nature, then click on the icon with the plus. Here you enter the name of your main category, e.g. holiday, nature, or business. You can create as many main categories as you like. Next, we create a category, e.g. mountains and lakes, which will be assigned to the nature supercategory. Make sure the nature tab is selected and click the plus icon to create the category. Enter the name of the category, e.g. mountains, and optionally add a map. Make sure the graphic is a maximum of 1024 pixels on the longest side and is in JPG or PNG format. Now you can drag and drop your panoramas into the appropriate category. Alternatively, you can click on the panorama's pencil and assign the panorama to the desired category in the drop-down menu. This method is faster and more accurate if you have a lot of panoramas. You can create as many categories as you want by repeating the steps above. Now let's move on to inserting the floor plans or site plans. To enable navigation via the floor plan, go to the Editor tab. Then select a panorama that should appear as a point on the floor plan. Click on the Floor Plan tab and drag the icon to the appropriate place on the site plan. You can move the point later by holding down the Alt key. You can also determine the transparency of the floor plans by clicking on the pencil of the corresponding category in the Menu/Layers tab. In the opened window, you can now change the alpha value. You can also adjust the size of the map symbols on the floor plan. To do this, go to the Tour Settings tab, then to Maps, and adjust the desired size of the map icons there. To delete, you can also delete supercategories and categories. Press the trash can, then all assigned panoramas will be arranged on the very left on level 1 and you can assign them again. With the created layers and assigned panoramas, your 360-degree tour is now optimally structured. This structure enables intuitive navigation and an impressive user experience. Have fun exploring and discovering the different areas. You can change the color of all icons and hotspots or replace them with your own. This is quite easy, but requires an image editing program like Photoshop or a similar tool. Here I'll show you the best way to do it. Go to the Style tab, where you'll find a list of all the icons used. Click on Download Original to download the graphic map with all the icons. Open the graphic map in Photoshop and adjust or replace the graphics. Upload the edited graphic map again under Select File. If you've changed more than one graphic, click on Edit next to the icon and select the edited graphic map in the drop-down menu under Image, then Save. You can also adjust the size and transparency of the icons. We recommend that you test the display, especially on mobile devices, to make sure that everything is displayed correctly. If you want to integrate 360-degree projects into websites in a so-called iFrame, you can see here what the result will look like. You can also hide or reduce buttons and icons in the iFrame. We definitely recommend leaving the full screen button on so that users can view the project in full size with just one click if they want. You can also change these settings at any time, even if the projects have long been integrated. We come to the offer carousel. It is very suitable for showing the entire offer at once for selection or as an additional navigation option. Here is a good example of how the city of Brno uses this function to link its premium advertising partners directly. You can place a graphic at the top left and when clicked, the user is shown the entire offer in a circle. And this is how you can incorporate it into your projects. First you have to activate the function on the left. Then you can upload the logo for the top left. And as a next step you can upload several graphics that users can see as teasers and click to access the corresponding panoramas. As a final step you can then call up the individual offer logos and link them to the desired panorama or determine the desired position in the carousel. This is about how to link projects. First, you differentiate between the main tour and the subtour. The added value is that you can create a large project, for example a city, in which various locations are included. In addition, each district can create its own tour, which counts as a subtour and is linked to the main tour. The user who is viewing the main tour of the city moves seamlessly to the subtour of the respective district, often without realizing that he is in a different tour. This can only be recognized by the URL. Advantages. The subtour can be edited without affecting the main tour. Subtours can only be linked if the main tour approves it, as the admin has control. If you add something new to the starting panorama in a subtour, it will also appear in the main tour. This effect is called unification of elements. To link one project to another, go to the Subtours tab. A window will open in which you can activate Include Subtours. Then click on Add Subtour. In the window that opens, select the panorama. Then enter the subtour ID and the subpano ID. Click on Save. Please note, both tours must have the same design and both tours must have the same panorama. This is the only way the link works. With password protection, you can make the project accessible only to those who receive the appropriate password from you. Here's how to do it. Under Tour Settings, General, activate the Password Protection function and save it. Then click on Password Protection User in the navigation on the left and assign a password. You can also create multiple users and assign different passwords. Timeline. Great if you want to show certain content at certain times. Please first activate this function under Tour Settings, quite far down. Now you can always set the time-dependent display for the individual functions in the editor. Suitable for various uses. We developed it for the following customer request. A university had to hold the entire graduation ceremony virtually during Corona. The university's biggest concern was that the students would immediately run to the virtual graduation party and have little interest in the graduation speeches. So the panoramas around the virtual party were only unlocked at a predetermined point in the tour. And it turned out that this was a good idea. Using our quiz engine, we turn virtual reality into a learning tool. This function was developed during the Corona pandemic together with several educators and has since been used primarily in the field of education. I will now show you how you can incorporate this into your projects. Step 1. Go to the editor. Step 2. On the left in the navigation, click on Quiz Tool. Step 3. Add new quiz. Step 4. Assign quiz name. Step 5. Add background image and background music to each question. Press Update after each selection. Step 6. Add new question. Step 7. Formulate question. Select media type, enter answers. Multiple correct answers are also possible. Step 8. Specify correct answers by ticking the boxes next to the questions. Then press Save. Step 9. Go back to the editor and select the panorama in which you want to integrate the quiz. Step 10. Under Quiz Spots, click on the functions and drag it to the appropriate place in the panorama. I would like to show you a very good example, a virtual school trip by a 5th grade class to the sewage treatment plant in the city of New Ulm. The trip uses virtual reality and interactive videos to show the students how wastewater is cleaned. The learning material was conveyed in an exciting way with explanations from the staff. Such virtual excursions arouse interest in environmental issues and promote understanding of important infrastructure projects. Collecting points is a good idea if you, or your customers, want users to look at the whole project, or if it is simply important that they see or click on certain content. You can see this best in this example. By the way, a few years ago we won first place with this project in a Bavarian competition on the topic of environment/innovation. So, now I'll show you how you can use it. First, you have to activate this action in the Tour settings. Now you can assign the number of points for each function you use in the editor. If a user has collected all of the points you have allocated, they will be shown a graphic at the end. You must upload this in the navigation on the left under Collect Points. Collecting points improves user behavior, increases motivation, and promotes interaction with the platform. At the end of this great tutorial, we come to our absolute highlight and great unique selling point. I will now show you how you can create an entire website based on 360 degrees. Step 1. Under Tour Settings, at the top, select 360 degrees website. Then the corresponding new tab will open at the top left. Click there. Step 2. Create, delete, or arrange subpages. In this step you can add new subpages, remove existing subpages, or change the order of the subpages to adjust your project structure. Step 3. Embed text, photos, links, and HTML. Here you can add content, integrate images, set external links, and insert HTML code to customize your subpages. Step 4. Link your own subpages and panoramas. In this step, you can create links between your subpages and panoramas. This allows users to easily navigate between different areas of your project, increasing user-friendliness and interactivity. Step 5. If you have activated multilingualism under Tour Settings, you can select the language and enter the content on the corresponding subpages at the top left. Step 6. Enter all information under Settings. The email address is important because this is where the messages that users send via the website are sent, e.g. the contact form. Step 7. For each subpage, title, and meta description should be entered to improve visibility in search engines and attract more visitors. Step 8. Optimize subpages for mobile devices. In the Edit Subpages tab, you will find a small icon that is important for mobile devices. For pages in blocks of 2, e.g. text and image, you can specify the order for mobile phones here. That's it. With these steps, you have created an impressive 360-degree website. Now you are well equipped to bring your virtual projects to life and inspire your visitors. Have fun trying things out and being creative. When creating 360-degree tours or 360-degree websites, it is advisable to test everything on the mobile device. If you want to start the project at a specific point, open the virtual tour, move to the desired location and press the spacebar. This will generate a new URL in the browser. Whoever receives this URL will start the project at exactly this point. Where can you find the project ID and the Pano ID? The Pano ID is displayed under the individual panoramas. You can find the project ID under 360-degree tours for the respective projects. Another important note, for technical reasons, not all functions are possible with the VR glasses. Our tool automatically hides the functions that are not VR compatible, such as redirecting to classic websites, as these cannot be displayed in VR. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us. We are always here for you.